palate cleanser. Let's do some beer reviews. The Malt Experiment beer reviews. I'm gonna get that out of frame. I just wanted to be a knucklehead. All right. Take two. So, I've already done this once, and for whatever reason, my video editor on my phone will not use the video that I took using that video editing program. So this is Brad's Dry Stout, Puka NC. This is a Great Western Premium 2-row malt. Let's see, what am I getting from it? Get like a, now these have warmed up quite a bit. Still not a whole lot of nose on this. My initial thoughts, clean, very little smell. You get some semi-sweet to dark chocolate, but kind of going away. Let's see, from the Great Western website, it says our most popular base malt, perfect for all beer styles, especially American ales and lagers. Emphasis on moderate protein barley to produce moderate enzyme levels. Produce a very clean, smooth finish. Our premium 2-row malt is ideal for all malt beers and for mashes containing moderate levels of adjuncts. So, this beer is very clean. You don't get a whole lot of base malt in that beer. It kind of disappears to the background. So you get more of the adjunct malt, the dark malts we used. You do get some nutty flavors out of that. I can't really put my nose on it. As it warms up, you get dark fruit, you get some raisins, some plum out of it, but it's dominated by the dark malts. This is Kurt Sexton's. And it is a little more carbonated than what Puka's is. That you're getting a little bit darker. He used, let's see, he used another Maris Otter, an English Maris Otter. Very little smell out of this one. There's all the dark roasted nuts. Like dark roasted almonds. But what are you doing? Huh? You wanna come out here and drink some beer? No? Okay. That's another one you get a lot of nutty flavor from. I think that's characteristic from the base malt. You don't get it from that much nutty from Great Western 2-row. Let's do this one. Everybody knows that silver paint Sharpie. This is under table, and they used Avant-Garde Pilsner malt. And you can definitely taste the Pilsner malt in that. The Pilsner malt is dominating with this beer. You get that kind of tartness from the Pilsner malts. I think one thing that bourbon. One thing that I've noticed, I've had this beer at, like, Avery makes a beer. It's called Hop Yard. It's 100% Pilsner malt IPA. You get that same kind of tartness, I guess, how I would put it, from the Pilsner malt. You get a little bit of roasted nuts from it. Let's see, a little bit of history. Let's see. You get some, let's see, Avant-Garde Malts is the largest malting company in Germany. High quality and traditional German malts. None of their malts is perhaps more sought after than the Pilsner malt. Some of the finest lagers in the world are made with their Pilsner malts. Bright, clean, full-body character, highly modified. It has been reported that brewers tend to get excellent efficiency out of their malt. Nice, clear, light, golden color. Can be used in a range of different colors and different beers. This beer would be awesome, I would think, as a black lager. Maybe boost up the IBUs just a touch, but you're getting you get the tartness from the Pilsner malt. If you guys can relate to that, it overpowers the dark grains. You don't get that intense roasty flavor, although you do now that it's warmed up a little bit. There's very little to nose on this, but as it warms up, there's more of a nose on it. But it's still a lot of Pilsner flavor there. Then we're gonna do my beer. I've had this beer a few times. My beer. Nose, not really much on it. I used Glen Eagle's Maris Otter. And it is like just straight nutty, dark roasted nuts. It's very dry. This beer finished at 10:20, so I would expect some residual sweetness, but it is dry. It's like the kind of dry when you eat like a handful of walnuts, kind of just strips the moisture out of your mouth. This beer for me was kind of a pain because I wasn't sure what this particular brew was supposed to taste like. It's very almost like raw husk kind of forward kind of beer. I would take that from the grinding of the dark malts, just ground into a powder. But it's a lot of nutty flavor in that beer, which I've brewed several beers. I brewed it a couple times. I brewed it once with American Two-Row, whether it be Breeze or whatever. And then I used Maris Otter the second time, and you can definitely tell the difference between the two. But it's a huge nutty flavor, but the roast is very big on my beer. A lot of we'll get into that later, but this is SJ's Little Face Brewing, and he used Munich LME and Amber DME. And this one to me smells like almost like a container of mixed nuts. It's kind of got the tartness of the Pilsner, but it's kind of got like a raw nut flavor to it. But it's got a roasted nut to it, and it's got a ton of dark fruit flavor to it. It's probably got the best nose out of them. It's got the most interesting nose for sure out of all of them. And as it warms up, the taste has definitely changed. It's got a lot of taste. If you guys can get a hold of the Guinness Foreign Stout, I think it's called Foreign Exchange or maybe Foreign Stout. It's not the nitro, not the draft. It comes in the squatter kind of 12-ounce bottle. Kind of reminds me a lot of that. It's dry, but it's got a lot of nut character to it. Not really roasted nut character to it. It's kind of a different one. It's a beer that I don't know, it's hard to explain. Let's see. The Munich LME. It's half pale Munich and half let's see, let's see. Munich LME is half pale ale, half Munich malt. So it sounds like maybe half Turo, half Munich malt. Fermentability is about 75%. High levels of ferment, rich malty amber color. It's about 8 Levibond. Let's see. The amber DME is a base of Munich and 60L crystal with caramel overtones. Yeah, I think it's not like a real dark caramel. It's like a real just when a real light colored caramel. If I was to compare it to caramel candies. Then we'll do mash paddles. Last but not least. Pow. And he used Mutton's Propino Pale, which is a spring barley. And not a whole lot of nose on that. Taste on that. Dark roasted nuts. It tastes similar to mine, not quite as roasty, as dark roasty as mine, not quite as dry as mine. But as far as, let's see, we'll do a quick rundown. As far as a base malt that kind of disappears into the background, is definitely the Great Western Turo. The Maris Otters they're nutty, and it just kind of adds to the flavor. Mash paddles, Muttons, Propino is probably almost like a Maris Otter. It adds a lot of nutty quality. The LME and DME combination add a lot of like roasted nuts kind of flavor, but not like dark roasted nuts. Almost some of it kind of, it's almost not like a roasted nut, like a raw almond. If you guys have ever had raw almonds, unsalted, unroasted, just raw almonds, you kind of get that same flavor and you kind of smell. And it's extremely interesting. It's an interesting beer that SJ made. If I had to pick one that I wanted to brew again, what I would do, I would think I would take the Under the Table and I would change the hop schedule a little bit and probably lager this beer. Either use the California Steam lager or another type of lager yeast and do it that way. Or I would take any one of these base recipes, which were all the same, and I would probably add a little bit of lactose and probably maybe cold steep my grains and try to get away from that kind of raw husk flavor. Lactose should help the dryness of it because these beers are dry. You might just take the taste away from your mouth dry. And you're only 5%, 5.5% or so. Having said that, I think I had quite a bit of a reservation when I was making this beer because I made mine, fermented it out, tasted it at a primary, and the Irish yeast. Alright guys, for whatever reason I'm having one hell of a time with this freaking camera phone today. But I think Pilsner malt, dark grains, I think it'd be better off as I think it'd be a great lager. I'm not sold. I don't really care for this beer. Put that out there. So I had some reservation, which is probably what's taking me so long to do these reviews. I wish you guys could see the 25-minute rendition of when I did this rather than this 13-minute rendition. But really, if you guys wanted to do a rundown, I think I've covered that. But you know, nutty flavored beers are definitely the Maris Otters, the the Mutton's Pro-Pinot Pale. Or those are your nutty flavors. The malt that kind of gets lost in the background is definitely your Great Western 2-row. So that would be like, they're probably comparable. It'd be like Breeze or Rar, something like that. Something if you wanted to make something that's pretty complex, you can put a little bit of DME and a little bit of LME in there from the Munich LME or the Amber DME. Both those did a great service to this beer. Extremely complex for only really just changing those 2 articles. But anyway, I'm going to sign off, and here is the Franken beer, which is dominated more or less by the SJ Port, LME, DME, and the Pilsner malt combined, along with the dark roasted grains. But yeah, these other than SJ's and Under the Table, these beers were just overly dominated by the dark roasted grains. When I first initially tasted this out of primary, the yeast character was just crazy, and I was kind of worried. But now the yeast kind of settled into the background. But it's a very malty beer, dominated by the roasted grains in 4 of the 6 beers. The Pilsner and the LME DME combination really have kind of overcome. The Pilsner is really more so than anything, but I'm not going to repeat myself 13 times because I've done it enough. But yeah, the Pilsner, that would probably be a really good lager. Kind of tweak the recipe a little bit. That would be a good one. All right, guys, I'm gonna sign off to say cheers. See you.